Now, we'll do the next question for SBL, which is Indian. Indian is the third largest industrial country in the world. It is densely populated with a high standard of living. Joe Swift Transport, known as Swift, is the largest logistic company in Indian, owning 1,500 trucks. Okay. Now let us move down and look at the requirement first. Assess using both financial and non-financial measures the attractiveness from the Swift perspectives of EVM as an acquisition target, 15 marks. And then examine the factors which could influence Swift decision to move a large part of the logistic business to Ecoria, 10 marks. Okay. It is a private limited company. Okay, it is a private limited company, and just second. Okay, it is a private limited company, and with all shares held by the Swift company, it has significant haulage and storage. Just second. All right, with retail and supermarket. Okay. The logistic marketplace is mature. It is a private limited company with all shares held by the Swift company. It has significant haulage and storage contracts with retail and supermarket chains in ambient. The logistic marketplace is mature and extremely competitive, and Swift has become market leader through a combination of economies of sales, cost effectiveness, innovative IT solutions, and clever branding. Okay. Right. So increased pressure from a recently elected government. It is committed to heavily uh, taxing fuel and reducing expenditure on roads in favor of alternatives form of transport. It has also announced a number of taxes on vehicles which have given high carbon emission levels, as well as reducing the maximum working hours and increasing the national minimum wage for employees. The company is perceived as good performance in this sector. 2009 financial results reported a ROCE, return on capital, 18%, gross profit margin 17%, net profit margin 9.15%. The accounts also show a current liquidity ratio of 1.55 and asset test ratio of 1.15. The gearing ratio is currently 60% and interest cover ratio of 8%. Okay. Now, 10 years ago, the northern political bloc split up and 9 new independent states were formed. One of these states was Equatoria. The people of Equatoria, known as Equatorians, traditionally have a strong work ethic and a passion for precision and promptness. Since the formation of the state, their hard work has been rewarded by the strong economic growth, a higher standard of living, and an increased demand for goods which were once perceived as unobtainable luxuries. Since the formation of the state, the government of Equatoria has pursued a policy of privatization. It has also invested heavily in infrastructure, particularly the road transport system required to support the increased economic activity in the country. The state haulage operator EVM was also sold off to two Ecuadorian investors who raised the finance to buy it from a foreign bank. The capital market in Ecuador is still immature, and the government has not visited to interfere. with or bolsters them. EVM now has 700 modern trucks and holds all the major logistics country in the country. It is praised for its prompt delivery of goods. Problem is raising finance have made it difficult for significant competitors to emerge. Most of our family firms, each of which operate about 20 trucks, making local deliveries within one or Equarius 20 regions. Okay. These two investors now wish to realize their investment in EVM and have announced that it's for sale. In principle, Swift are keen to buy the company and are currently evaluating its possible acquisition. Swift management perceives their capital as in logistic will great enhance the profitability of EVM. The financial results for EVM are shown in Figure 1. Swift has acquired a number of smaller Indian companies in the last decade, but has no experience of acquiring foreign companies or indeed working in Equaria. Joe Swift is also contemplating a more radical change. He is becoming progressively disillusioned with Ambien. In a recent interview, he said that trading here is becoming impossible. The government is more interested in over regulating enterprise than stimulating growth. He is considering moving large part of his logistics operation to another country, and Equatoria is one of possibilities he is considering. So is the figure one extract from the financial results, non-current assets, current assets, total assets, equity and liabilities, equity, liability, non-current liabilities, current liabilities, then extract from the profit and loss as well, revenue, cost of sales, gross profit, admin expenses, finance costs, profit before tax, PBT, income tax expenses, and profit for the year, PAT. Now, so let's diving to the new question. Let us open the fresh sheet. Now, here's a Swift, and it's a part A, right? Now, what we'll say that the acquisition of EVM can be analyzed using the success criteria of suitability, acceptability, and feasibility. So first of all, suitability. It is concerned with whether a strategy addresses the issues identified when considering the strategic position of the company. In general terms, the acquisitions appears to make sense. The market is mature and competitive in ambient. pushing down margins. These margins are further eroded by a government that is hostile to road transport, resulting in high taxation on fuel, road taxes linked to carbon emission, and restricted working practices. The acquisition of EVM provides an opportunity for Swift to exploit their core competencies to exploit their core competencies in a different geographical market where demand is rising. The national government is investing in road infrastructure and competition is immature. The increased size of the group will further allow Swift to exploit economies of scale when purchasing trucks and other equipment. Now, further concerns around suitability surround the potential clash of cultures between Swift and EVM. Swift has no experience of acquiring or running foreign companies. It has no experience of trading in Ecuria, although EVM is now in private hands. It may be possible that the work practice for the central government, okay, Swift wishes to acquire this company and adopt the practices, principles, and technology of the Indian operation. This may lead to conflict that they may find hard to resolve. Now, next, acceptability. We are done with the suitability. Now we will do the suitability, acceptability, right? Acceptability is concerned with the expected performance of a strategy in terms of return, risk, and stakeholder reactions. EVM delivers a very similar 18% ROCE to Swift transport. This appears to be a strong performance for the sector and should certainly be acceptable for Swift shareholders. The GP margin, that means gross profit margin, is higher than Swift, but the net profit margin is 7.5% is lower. This may support some of the concerns discussed in suitability. The company may still be carrying high cost from its days as a nationalized company. Swift presumably believes that it can improve the net profit margin by implementing competencies gained in the ambient market. Now let us discuss the summaries. Both the current liquidity ratio, both current ratio, which is 1.14, and the asset test ratio 1.05 are lower than Swift equivalents. And Swift will need to look at this. The introduction of Swift practices may help reduce trade payables, the gearing ratio of 30% for EVM is much lower than Swift and perhaps reflects a more conservative approach to long-term lending and a reflection okay lending and reflection of the of fledgling capital markets in the country. Now let us discuss about the stakeholders a bit. Well, Joe Swift and his family are the major stakeholders in what is still a family run private limited company. It is unlikely that there will be any opposition to the family run private limited company. It is unlikely that, sorry, however, stakeholders such as drivers might be wary of this strategy, and also government outspokenly criticized by Joe may also respond in some way. Now, then finally, we will discuss about the feasibility. Feasibility is about whether an organization has the resources and competencies to deliver the strategy. It appears that Swift does, as funds are in place and the competencies are what are partly driving the acquisition. So that's it for this part. I hope you get it. Simple, simple approach, very simple approach. Uh, Connected to the scenario, applying the knowledge, connected to the scenario, giving the conclusion, and so on, line by line basis. That's what you need to do. Now, we are done with this part. So what we'll do, go back to the question again. And now examine the factors which should influence Swift decision to move a large part of its logistic business to Ikoria, and 10 marks available for it, total 25 marks. Dun 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 dun. Then we will be done with it. So B part, what we'll say that one possible way to assess this scenario is by using Porter's diamond. This identifies four main determinants of national advantage and arranges these as a diamond. With each of these determinants, interacting with and reinforcing each other. Two further determinants chance and government are discussed outside of the diamond in terms of how they influence and interact with the determinant inside the diamond. Okay, so the four main determinants are as follows. The nation's position in factor conditions, such as skilled labor or infrastructure necessary for firms to compete in a given industry, the acknowledged work ethic of the people, and investment in the transport infrastructure by the government are significant factor conditions in equilibrium. In equilibrium. Then the nature of home demand conditions for the industry's product for the industry product or service. Home demand influences economies of scale, but it also shapes the rate and character of improvement and innovation. In equilibrium, The move to a market economy has stimulated a rapid growth, has stimulated rapid growth in the transport of goods. Okay, the next, the presence or absence of related and supporting industries that are internationally competitive competitive uh, advantage in certain industries confers potential advantages on firms in other industries. Porter suggests that the Swiss success in pharmaceuticals was closely connected to previous international success in the die country. There is no evidence in the case study that that Ecuria has internationally competitive industries related to logistics. Hence, it is the absence of these that is significant when considering this determinant. And finally, the final determinant is the firm strategy. So, firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. This concerns the conditions in the nation going how companies are created, organized, and managed. It also considers the nature of domestic rivalry, EVM was created by the nationalizing the state run college system for the first few years of operation. It had few competitors. The nature of the capital markets makes it very difficult to raise finance in Korea. So most of the EVM competitors are small family run companies who offer a local service. Voters suggest that there is a strong relationship between various domestic rivalry and the creation and persistence of competitive advantage in an industry. There is little evidence of this emerging in Ikoria. That's it for this part of the question, and I hope you get it. Same technique, nothing different, and that's how you should draft your answer. We'll see you in no in next class in next session with more question. Till then, take care. Bye bye.